It's July 2021 and we're already seeing rumours about Apple's M2 processor that we can expect to find in the next MacBook Air and even in Mac Minis. So I thought I'd put my performance improvement predictions down and to explain why I think what will happen in the next, let's say, 12 months. The first thing I'll say is that we can't expect to see the M2 until about the first quarter of 2022. And that's because we know the M2 will be made on TSMC's N5P process, which is an improved version of the 5nm process that the M1 was built on. And Apple's going to use all of that N5P process to create processors for their iPhone, which have an annualized launch, usually around October every year. And they'll spend all of it on that before they start putting it into, Macintoshes, Macs. TSMC claimed that their 5nm process gives a 15% increase in speed and a 30% increase in power efficiency over their previous 7nm process. And they also claimed that the N5P process is a 20% performance increase and a 40% power efficiency improvement over the 7nm process. So if you do some simple calculations so that we can compare the 5nm with the N5P processors, we basically get about a 4.3% speed improvement and an 8% improvement in power efficiency. Apple have released new cores each year for the last 5 years. So the current cores are the Ice Storm and Firestorm cores in their processors. And when they get upgraded, you tend to get a single-digit IPC percentage increase with each one of these improvements. So I predict roughly a 7% IPC improvement improvement in IPC, I should say, this year, just based on track record. And if you take that 7% improvement along with a 4.3% process speed improvement, it gives you roughly about an 11% general improvement in performance. What we won't see is an increase in the number of big cores, and that's because the big cores use about somewhere between 5 and 6 watts each under heavy load, and AnandTech have shown that the M1 draws about somewhere between 20 and 24 watts maximum. So adding new additional performance cores sort of puts the real performance draw, power draw in somewhere in the 30 to 35 watt category, which is way too much for a fanless laptop like the MacBook Air. And even though the N5P process will offset a small amount of that power draw, it's nowhere near enough to be viable. So don't expect any more cores. We can expect some minor IPC improvements in the GPU, and it's actually conceivable that Apple could spend their additional N5P power budget by adding 1 or 2 additional cores, and that would give us a nice improvement in graphics power performance. One thing they'll do for sure is include on-chip support for additional Thunderbolt controllers. I reckon they'll have at least 4, just to give you better expansion options over what the existing MacBook Air gives. So what does this mean for performance? What do my predictions mean for performance? I predict a Geekbench 5 single core performance improvement, and I guess I'll do the figures here. Single core performance of the M1 is 1740, give or take, depending on which one you want to look at, and I expect that this will improve to about 1931. And for the multi-core performance, the existing one is roughly around 7600, and I would expect that to improve up to 8436. That's my predictions. And if they put 2 extra GPU cores in, then I would expect the metal score to be up from the existing M1's 2100 points, somewhere up around 2600 points for the M2. All right, I've put it down. I guess time will tell how my predictions go. If you've got some predictions, please put them in the comments. Thank you.